Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. This is Dr. Soham Patel. I'm a board certified endocrinologist and I'm also very passionate about evidence-based lifestyle medicine. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please go ahead and subscribe and press the bell icon so you get the notification when I upload more videos, and share it with your friends and family. In this video, we're going to talk about why lifestyle medicine and why that is going to be the future of medicine. When we see around, we see diseases. We are not new to diabetes or heart disease, strokes, cancers, autoimmune conditions. Every family, every friend circle, everybody has heard about this, and it has reached a proportion where it has become very common, and it didn't used to be like this 50, 60, 70 years ago. So the last 50, 60 years we have really seen a huge increase in the prevalence of chronic diseases, which are mostly coming from an improper lifestyle. And yes, modern medicine has had wonderful advances, and we have medications and cutting edge treatments and procedures that we can use, and they would each have their role. But if we do not look at the root cause of why we are having that disease in the first place, just adding more medications and more procedures is not going to help us gain health and wellness. So yes, medications, procedures, all the treatments are there, and we will use that effectively as and when we need them, but we got to work on the root causes, and that's what I'm going to be talking about in this video. So evidence-based lifestyle medicine has 6 pillars. It has nutrition, it has activity, good sleep, lowering stress, avoiding toxins and detoxing, getting rid of the toxins, and working on getting good, healthy relationships. And I would include, working on forgiveness and gratitude as part of that, but we'll talk more on when we go to that topic. So we'll start with nutrition, and we can look at different types of studies. There is a lot of information out in the media. Every few months there is some new diet that comes out and it says do this, do that, and you will be able to get that and get whatever. Nutrition seems to be a very complicated topic, but if you look at the fundamentals of nutrition, it's not really that complicated. Yes, there has been a lot of influences, industry, and some studies which have been changed and modified. But if you look at studies from lab data where they look at mechanisms of different reactions in the body, when you look at studies done looking at different populations, which we call epidemiological studies, when you look at prospective trials where they intervene a certain behavior or certain treatment and compare it with the control group going forward, that's called a prospective study. When they look at randomized control trials where they have two similar groups of people, and then one group has certain treatment and the other group may not have a treatment or just have a placebo treatment, and then the results are compared. And then we have systematic reviews and meta-analysis of data of different types of trials and studies done on any particular topic. So there are different levels of studies and different levels of evidences. Nutrition research, because it's very difficult to design a randomized control trial for a long duration of period, that has sadly not had that many randomized control trials, but we still do have data about trials that may involve 6 months, year, 2 years, and sometimes in certain issues longer. But the key aspect is to look at which direction things are pointing when you're looking at all the evidences, different types of data. So if you're getting a direction of studies suggesting that eating more fruits and vegetables and more whole plant foods is going to help you reduce risk of heart disease and stroke and cancer and diabetes, one study that may show something different is not necessarily going to antagonize the whole body of data that you have. So there's a food journalist by the name Michael Pollan, and he has a quote that I'm quoting. It says, "Eat real food," means all the processed foods and the refining and the chips and the soda and all this things which we have in the processed form goes out of the window. Mostly plants. He doesn't even say eating only plants, but mostly plants, and not too much, which is where we want to have a restricted feeding window. So we are trying to eat between 7 p.m. My bad. We're trying to eat between 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. or 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. 8 or 12 hour feeding window, and having at least 12 hours or 14-16 hours of time where you're not eating, because fasting is not new. Yes, we have more data about fasting now, but fasting has been an old practice involving different cultures and religions. It's been in every different tradition. So fasting is always good, and yes, there are ways of doing water fasting for extended amounts of time. But beyond 2 to 3 days, you have to have it monitored. You cannot do at home, especially if you have any medical condition. You want to make sure you are getting that monitored closely. But eating plant foods, whole plant foods, so different types of vegetables, starchy and non-starchy, different types of beans and lentils, what we call the legumes, so black beans, kidney beans, pinto beans, butter beans, navy beans, lima beans, chickpeas, different types of fruits, nothing exotic, nothing special, whatever grows and procured locally, seasonal. Each season has different fruits, so eating local and seasonal foods is better than trying to eat something special or exotic. And whole grains, things which are not white or refined or processed, turn into something really high fat and high sugar, but things which are wholesome like quinoa or brown rice or buckwheat, millet, barley, bulgur wheat instead of refined wheat, or whole wheat, different types of oats. There are a variety of grains, and eating different variety as much as you can get is better than just relying on one type of grain. But you want to base your food or nutrition on vegetables and beans as half of your daily meals, and then 1/4 as fresh fruit, and remaining quarter would be unrefined grains, and a handful of nuts. Now nuts and seeds, different tree nuts and different seeds like pumpkin seeds, chia seeds, hemp seeds, they all have different nutrients like different fats, omega-3 fats, different protein and different minerals and vitamins. So we do need them, but they're also very high in calories. So if you eat a lot of those, then that can also create more caloric intake. So we need them, but we don't need a huge proportion of them. So a handful, or maybe a handful and a half if you're a big person, is more than enough. In terms of different nuts, there are a variety of nuts, but if you look at the antioxidant profile of different nuts, then almonds and walnuts are one of the top ones. Brazil nuts are very high in selenium, selenium is a good mineral for our thyroid and cholesterol metabolism. So one Brazil nut a day is more than enough for the selenium. We don't want to eat more, because too much selenium can also cause problem to your kidney and liver. So a handful of almonds and walnuts, maybe some seeds like pumpkin, chia seeds, or flax seeds, or hemp seeds, and one Brazil nut a day gets you the different nutrients and good fats that you need. Eating half an avocado a couple times a week in your salad is better than eating an avocado every day. Eating the olives in your salad is better than relying on the olive oil. It doesn't matter what kind of extra virgin, cold pressed, special type of oil that you have, it is still purely fat with not much fiber. Whereas if you have the actual thing like the olives or the avocados in a limited amount, They come with the fiber and the different antioxidants and minerals and vitamins. So get the whole package, not a refined product. That's the key. And having lots of water. You don't have to drink by a certain amount, but drinking enough so that your mouth feels moist all the time, and your color of the urine is also light yellow. So those two things can kind of help you gauge how much water you need to drink. It may vary based on your temperature, your activity, how much time you're spending out, how much sweating you're doing. So gauge it based on your mouth being moist and having a light yellow or transparent urine. If you're having a dark yellow urine, you're probably not drinking enough water. So when you're eating whole plant foods, you're getting all the different nutrients. You don't have to worry about a lot of different vitamins, but there is one exception to that, and that is B12. B12 is a very essential vitamin for your brain, heart, and nerve function. And you could be eating plant-based and be exercising, but if you don't watch your B12 levels and monitor it, it is not going to help you. It may hurt you badly. You could get some unreversible changes in your spinal cord or your brain, and you can end up with a heart attack with extremely extended amounts of period of low B12. So B12, you want to get a sublingual form. There are a few forms of B12. There is methyl and adenosyl and hydroxy and cyano B12. Methyl is the most easy for the body to absorb and process. So methylcobalamin or methyl B12 in a sublingual form, some 2-3 times a week is good to maintain, and you want to check your levels to see if it's staying within the mid to high normal range and not on the lower end of the range, to keep it in an optimal neighborhood. After B12, all the other vitamins are more case to case basis. Someone who is not spending much time outdoors or doesn't have foods rich in vitamin D may not get enough that, so they may take a supplement. Omega-3 fatty acids, you get them from the nuts and seeds. Most people convert it very well into EPA and DHA, which are the two different types of active omega-3s. But some people don't convert that well, and taking a supplement may make sense. But it is more of a case-to-case basis, looking at labs and see if you need to have that supplemented. But B12 is non-negotiable. And secondly, it's not that plant foods don't have B12 and hence you are having to replace. Even animal foods don't have B12. The animals have to be injected B12 so that they have B12 in the meats and different products. But it doesn't come naturally because the soil content and the gut microbiome both are being damaged by pesticides and antibiotics that we take, pesticides in the soil. So we are lacking B12 on a more generalized basis, and it is good to make sure we get that optimal in an optimal range. Now, the reason of focusing on whole plant foods is also that you're getting the different nutrients, but you're getting something that is very essential. You're getting 7 different things. You're getting carbohydrate, fats, and proteins. You're getting the variety of those 3 in the variety of foods you eat. So you don't have to really worry about trying to get more protein or more fat or more carbohydrates. You're getting the right proportion when you're eating. Like I mentioned, the fruit, the vegetables and beans as 50%, 1/4 fresh fruit, and remaining unrefined grains with a handful of nuts. You're getting the right proportion. So you don't have to worry about those things. But what you do need to keep in mind is that you're also getting different vitamins, different minerals. You're getting water too in fruits and vegetables. And you're getting something that is very essential, which is fiber. Standard American diet has less than 15 grams of fiber a day, and we lead to a lot of diseases because of not having the right kind of microbiome. We carry more than 100 trillion bacteria from one end to the other end of our gut. So if we are not having the right kind of bacteria, we are not going to have the right health. So different variety of fiber that you get from different whole plant foods, each fiber promotes a different type of bacteria, the good ones. and those bacteria break up that fiber into something called short chain fatty acids, which are really good for our brain and they lower inflammation. So when you eat fiber, you're not just promoting the right variety of microbiome, but you're also getting in return something which is good for your body. So it's a win-win situation, and microbiome is where we are heading towards personalized medicine. So promoting and maintaining the right variety and the right type of bacteria in our gut, in our mouth, in our lungs, all the places have different bacteria that stay with us. And the fiber in the plant foods promotes the right type of microbiome. So that's why the emphasis on real foods devoid of toxins and additives and different things, but having a lot of nutrients and fiber. Now, one common concern that I've seen, and which is a valid concern, is today's time conventional agriculture. We have a lot of pesticides and different chemicals used in farming, and that is also a huge issue that can cause inflammation in our body and cause leaky gut and cause more autoimmune conditions because of leaky gut. But studies show that if the choice is between not eating fruits and vegetables versus eating conventional grown fruits and vegetables, then you're still better off eating conventionally grown fruits and vegetables. Yes, you can reduce the pesticide load by soaking the fruits and vegetables in the water solution of apple cider vinegar or any kind of white vinegar, some vinegar that you may be using in cooking. And or you can add more baking soda and give it a stir and then put those fruits and vegetables in it, and that will get rid of a lot of pesticides. If you can afford to buy organic, there is a good resource called Environmental Working Group, ewg.org. They have a list called the Dirty Dozen, which are the 12 things that have high pesticide residue, and they have something called the Safe 15, which doesn't have much. So you are okay buying non-organic for the Safe 15, whereas the Dirty Dozens, which does include strawberries and different types of berries, kale, tomatoes, different types of potatoes, those, because they are thin-skinned, are more likely to get exposure to pesticides too. So if you can, it is better to buy organic in those things, and you can refer to the EWG website. But it doesn't have to be a reason to not eat fruits and vegetables if you think buying organic is not good for your pocket. So working on eating whole plant foods, and it's also very cost effective eating them, because you can buy things in bulk. You can buy beans in bulk, you can buy grains in bulk, you can buy fruits which are in season, which may not turn bad fast, and you can buy local fruits and vegetables. So you can actually feed a lot more people with a lot less money eating a plant-based diet than what people normally think. And you don't need to go to an expensive supermarket or get the most top-of-line things. Anything that you can make happen is better than not eating whole plant foods. So that's kind of the summary on nutrition, which is a huge aspect of our lifestyle. And when we start eating better, we can treat a lot of diseases, and we can also improve and reverse many of them. But it's not the only pillar of lifestyle medicine. There are 5 other pillars, and the next one is going to be activity. Activity, again, you don't need to have a gym membership. If you like going to the gym and you want to have a gym membership, go for it, but that is not a necessity. You have 5 minutes to go for a walk, to 5 minutes of walking. You have 10 minutes to go for a swim, to 10 minutes of swimming, biking, jogging, just playing a sport, whatever entitles you to be active, whatever gets you interested in doing it on a sustainable basis is what you do, because that's how you can sustain it. Because if you do something that you don't like doing, you may do it for a month, 2 months, but you'll stop doing. So we need to find something that you can like doing on a long-term basis. And if you have a busy day, start with 5 minutes, take it up to 10 minutes the next week, 15, 20. Take it up to 30 minutes as much as you can of physical activity every day. And if you can sweat in that activity, that's even better because that's a form of detoxing, because you get rid of a lot of toxins via sweating. So it's good to sweat every day. Talking about another important aspect, which is sleep. There are multiple reasons why we sleep. We sleep because we need to regenerate and repair different tissues. We sleep because we need to correct the different errors that may have happened in our DNA processes through the day and the different toxins which affected that. So when we sleep, we correct those mistakes through our DNA processes. We sleep because we need to consolidate our memory. We sleep because we need to relax our tissues. We sleep because we need to give our brain break from constant thinking. We need to have it relax and repair and regenerate. Sleeping also allows the lymphatics in our brain and around our brain to unclog and drain. Sleeping also helps us, if you did a workout, you can actually finish the effects of the workout and repair from that through the sleep. Now, the data shows that 6 to 8 hours of good quality sleep is important, but if you can get real deep delta sleep and you're getting the REM portions afterwards where you dream through those phases of sleep, you may not need 6 hours or 7 hours. You could go by with 5 hours, but the question is the quality. How good quality sleep are you getting? And for an average person who is not getting the best quality sleep, you probably do need 6 to 8 hours, somewhere in that neighborhood of good sleep. Now, the question is, what time do you go to sleep? So we have studies looking at circadian rhythm in the literature, and that's the sequence of hormones in relation to sunlight and sleep-wake cycles. And it shows that if you go to bed before 10:30 or by 10 p.m., you have a whole optimal way of hormone changes through the night, which lowers cortisol and lowers different stress hormones. Whereas if you go to bed after midnight, you have a way different and abnormal circadian rhythm. So it is important to have the right time of bedtime and also have the right amount of sleep. Now, in that, I'm going to also approach, we need to have a buffer zone before our sleep time. If you're doing things on the iPad, on the phone, on a tablet, on TV, and you're getting all this blue light exposure, that kills your melatonin. And melatonin is a very important chemical that makes us fall asleep, but it's also a protective chemical that prevents certain types of cancers. So lack of melatonin is not just going to affect your sleep, but also affect your risk of different types of cancers. So we need to have the good variation levels of melatonin, which if you are exposing yourself to a lot of blue light, you're going to get a very narrow fluctuation in the melatonin level. So having at least an hour or 2 hours optimally of a buffer zone where you're not exposing yourself to blue light, where you're having some form of unwinding routine, whether it's listening to nice music, relaxing instrumental music, or journaling where you write down your thoughts, which helps to de-stress and get out of all that negative emotions that you may have through the day. And you can write down anything that needs to be done the next day, so then when you are falling asleep, you're not churning wheels and trying to think through different things. So simple practices: deep breathing, meditation, journaling, music, some form of essential oils diffusing for 10-15 minutes, like citrus or peppermint essential oil, also helps you calm down. Keep in mind, essential oils are very potent chemicals extracted from plants, so you can also get side effects if you overdo it. So that's why I mentioned 10 to 15 minutes and not keeping it on overnight. But some routine that kind of gets you ready to think, okay, it's time to unwind and sleep. So when you hit the bed, you are knocked off in a few minutes and you're not staying up and trying to just keep thinking. If you are tossing and turning in the bed, it is good to get up, Try to listen to some music or do some meditation or read something that is not exciting, definitely not on a screen but in a physical book, in a yellow light environment, outside the bed, not in the bed but outside the bed. And once you start feeling sleepy again, you go back to the bed, because you want to only reserve the bed for sleeping and being intimate. There is no other function that you need to do in the bed. You don't want to eat in the bed, you don't want to watch TV in the bed, you don't want to read in the bed or do anything in the bed other than sleeping and being intimate. And that's how you want to condition your brain to think, because that's what the purpose of the bed is. So getting good quality, right time sleep with having a pre-sleep buffer zone where you're unwinding, which also helps you lower stress and improve your sleep quality, is a huge aspect of health. Because if you don't have good sleep, it's going to show up in your physical health. It's going to make you feel tired the next day. You're going to be tempted to have poor food choices because your cortisol levels are high, so you may go for more comfort foods. So it's all connected. The fourth aspect is stress. I mentioned briefly about de-stressing with a routine, but you can start your day with 5 minutes of meditation, deep breathing, nice soothing music, some instrumental, gongs, whatever seems to get you calm and composed and charged up for the day, that creates an armor against your body from any bad effects and negative emotions. And when you're stressed through the day, it's even more important for you to start deep breathing. And it's very simple. All you need to do is just breathe in, 2 seconds breathe in, hold a breath for a second, and then breathe out in 3 seconds. So when you do this on a continuous basis for a few minutes, you activate your vagal tone. And the vagal tone lowers your cortisol and tells your body that it's okay, you're not in a fight or flight mode, that it's okay, you're in a safe environment, and it gets you calm. Your body feels the calmness, not just feeling it mentally, but your body also feels the calmness in spite of whatever pandemonium would be going around at that situation. So when you start doing this every few hours, 2 minutes of deep breathing, days turning into weeks, weeks turning into months, you will start realizing that in the same situation you're still more composed and calm, and you're able to address it more actively than be reactive and be all over the place. So that's important, to work on some form of maneuvers to help you control the stress and address it in a more hands-on situation. There are different ways of Eastern medicine, like yogic system, the Tai Chi, Qigong. All those have been evolved over centuries and millennia. And they are rich traditions and systems. So whatever interests you, but try to learn some form of relaxation and stress addressal, so that you are not having that running 24/7. We are not faced with tigers, physical tigers in our day-to-day life, but we have situations which we feel like paper tigers all the time. And for our body, those paper tigers are as good as physical tigers. So we are in a constant state of fight or flight, and we need to get out of that fight or flight and be in the parasympathetic mode, where we are more calm and the vagal tone is high and the cortisol is low, and that promotes health. So all those 4 aspects that I've talked so far, nutrition, activity, sleep, stress, they're all equally important aspects. You could be doing great in 2 of them and then really doing bad in the stress and sleep, and you may still end up with disease. So it is about balancing all of them and trying to work on them one bite at a time. Toxins. So obvious ones, alcohol, tobacco, drugs, all those, yes, you have to avoid them. And if you're having any of those, you want to work on cutting them down. In terms of alcohol, yes, it's, people drink socially. A few drinks here and there is not a big issue in terms of health. But if you're drinking wine saying it's good for your health, then you can get the same benefits by eating red grapes. So if you look at risk of cancer, any amount of alcohol is a risk for cancer. So it's your judgment, but don't have alcohol thinking you're doing something for your health. Socially, yes, it's a different situation, but less is better. That's the common toxins, but we are exposed to so much toxins in our environment. We are exposed to heavy metals, inorganic chemicals, organic chemicals, different endocrine disruptors. We are exposed to plastic in our containers, in our water supply, in our air. We have a lot of chemicals. We have chemicals in our indoor air. We have chemicals in our food. So there are a lot of toxins, we have chemicals in our personal care products. We are loaded with a lot of chemicals which we lather and bathe with, and not realizing that we are absorbing a lot of that. Makeups, personal care products, everything has a lot of cancer causing and disease causing chemicals. So yes, it makes sense to start replacing it with better products, things which don't have phthalates and paraben and triclosan and different triethylamines. There are lots and lots of endocrine disruptor chemicals which can affect your endocrine system. So you can try to do the best you can, but obviously you're not going to be able to avoid every toxin. So the key portion is to detox. I've written a blog on my website, cfpen.org is my website, and on the blog section I've written a blog which says why we need to detox and how we can detox. I'm going to briefly go through that here. So there is different ways you can detox. Sweating is one thing. Where you sweat, you release toxins. Sauna, where you're also sweating, is also going to be a good thing to help you release toxins. Eating plant foods, whole food plant-based diet is also another great way to get rid of toxins. Drinking enough water. But the water that you get from the tap also has more toxins, so you do want to invest on a filtration system or a reverse osmosis system that can get rid of a lot of those toxins. And so when you're drinking water, you're not adding more toxins to your body. You can do water fasting, which again, if you have any disease conditions like diabetes or heart disease, high blood pressure, you do want to do it under medical supervision, not yourself. But you can definitely do intermittent fasting, where you are not eating overnight, like I mentioned earlier. You can also do green detox smoothies. There are lots of recipes available on YouTube and different media sources. But things which have cilantro or parsley, different leafy greens, things which have celery, ginger, those are good detox things that can help us detox. You can also you do different types of indoor plants like pothos or peace lily or mother-in-law tongue aloe vera or garden variety aloe vera. So there are different plants which you can pot, enhance the beauty of your indoor environment, and also help with cleaning out the indoor air. And connecting with nature, working in your yard, touching the soil. When you connect with the soil, yes, you are going to wash your hands afterwards, but when you walk bare feet on the grass or you work in your yard, you are connecting back with nature. And one of the reasons we also see this disease is because we are disconnected from nature. So going for a walk in a state park or a hike, just looking at trees, the nature, the animals, getting the sunlight, soaking up in that. Those are different ways to connect back with nature, because we come from nature and we're going to go back to nature. So we cannot be disconnected from our reality. We got to connect back with it. So there are different aspects of detoxing, which we have covered briefly. And the last aspect is relationships. We go through different interactions and different relationships. Some are close, some are not so close. Some may be great, some may be okay, some may be sour. The sour relationships, which may be old, you may not have active relationship at that point, but you have an old wound that has been festering emotionally, that eventually leads to more physical issues because it leads to more stress, more negative emotions, leading to more hormone imbalances, and then leading to more diseases. So you may not be able to contact that person, but you want to forgive that person and have gratitude about what you have in life and not worry about what you don't have, and do self healing, that you want to invite good vibes to you and not invite negativity. The universe is a mix of energy, and if you're trying to attract positive, you got to also emit positive. So getting that positive mindset is a huge aspect. You can look at studies where people with cancer, if they have the positive attitude, they do a lot better, versus if they have a negative attitude, they tend to have more recurrences and they tend to not live as longer. So positive attitude, some form of gratitude, creating that prayer and gratitude for people and things that you have in their life, and forgiveness for people that may have hurt you, and asking for forgiveness for people or from people that you may have hurt unconsciously or intentionally. So it's a two-way process. The less strain you have, the better it is. But that covers all those six aspects: the nutrition, the activity, the sleep, the stress, the relationships, and detoxing and avoidance of toxins. When we work on each of those, we work towards health. Now, you may think like there are multiple things to do and it's too much to handle. Yes, you don't want to get overwhelmed, because if you get overwhelmed and you stress, that's the last thing you want to do. So you identify the goal that you want to reach in each aspects of those six pillars of lifestyle medicine, but then you break down the goal into micro targets, and then you can break down the micro targets into further smaller targets, and then just work on one small target in each aspect at a time. Be successful in those changes, make it a new routine of your schedule, and then you can work on the next target and keep refining it, keep improving it, and it's before you realize, within a few months you will have come a long way. Which if you just looked at the big target and kept saying, okay, this is too much, I cannot do it, you would have never reached there in the first place. So perfection is not necessary. What is necessary is to recognize where you are, make shorter targets that you can achieve, and then keep extending those targets till you reach the ultimate goal. And every little thing that you do may not work in isolation, but as a combination of different things is going to give you multiple benefits. So the key is to not be status quo, identify the places to change, and then work on them one by one. And that's how you can gain health. I'm going to talk a little bit about financial health again. I'm not a financial advisor, and this is not financial advice, but I'm talking about financial health because so much of financial stress and strain ends up in your sleep and your stress and in your health and relationships, which starts affecting your overall health. So number one is, we see a lot of variety of things in the world. If we focus on what we have and what we can do rather than what we want to have all the time, then we are going to be a lot more content. Yes, we're going to have a goal and we want to work towards that goal. Having ambition is not bad, but being so much soaked in that ambition that you lose track of all the other aspects of life is not going to help you. So you want to work towards improving your life, but you want to also be conscious of your health at the same time. What I'm going to touch upon is, simple thing as budgeting. You want to just sit down and jot down all the expenses that you have and don't discard anything. Even if it's a few cents or a few dollars, you want to jot it down and look at how much expenses you go through your month, and you want to list down all your incomes and total it up and then see where you stand. If your expenses are more than income, it's self-explanatory. You need to work on structuring your expenses better. Yes, you can always work on improving your income, but that's not going to happen overnight. So when you start looking at your expenses, you may find that there may be expenses which are not necessary, that may be miscellaneous, or they may be unconscious. They may be you may be subscribing to a service that you're not using, and you're just paying it because it's on an auto payment schedule. So identifying small places where you can restructure things and save money. Any money saved is earned, and then when you start saving and you can start investing it in different types of avenues, creating skills, learning about your learning different skills so that you enhance your own skill set is something that you can always do. And the biggest aspect of financial health, not the biggest but one of the big ones, is having good health. Because if you don't have good physical and mental health, you're going to be having more diseases, which is going to take you to more medications and procedures, which all are great. They are great and they all have their role, but you're not going to come out of that cycle unless you look at the root causes. So if you can stay healthy and if you can keep your family healthy, you are going to save so much money because you're not going to end up in a medical debt. Lot of people are ending up in medical debt and having to file personal bankruptcies because of that. And so if you maintain good health, that's the best form of guarantee to also work towards financial health, because you're preventing a lot of expenses that you may have to do if you don't maintain good health. So simple budgeting exercises, being cognizant of what you have and what you need versus what you want. Needs are limited, but our wants are way high. So working on our needs and then adding on wants as and when as you can, but not just focusing on wants. And also working on your physical health, which is in its crossway. Financial health getting bad is also going to affect your health, and if you can keep good health, it's going to help your financial health. So it's mutual, and you want to work on both at the same time. So that I'm going to end with a quote from Dalai Lama, and I'm going to paraphrase. So Dalai Lama was asked by a journalist, what's the most fascinating thing he has seen in this world? And his reply was, it's the human beings. And so when he was asked further how, he said, human beings go through all their health to gain wealth, and then they go through all the wealth they have acquired to regain back their health. So let's not be that kind of human beings where we are chasing one thing and losing the other, but let's chase for health and wellness and financial safety all in the same stride. And yes, you may not reach goals overnight. The goal is to recognize where you are, set up some goals, and then work on small targets that can reach you to the goal. Every journey of 1,000 miles starts with the first step. So the focus has to be getting the step in the right direction, and then just keep working in the right direction. With that, again, I'm going to mention that this is a video for educational and informational purposes only. This is not medical or financial advice, but this is just an educational video. So please work with your physician to identify your goals of what you can do in your lifestyle to obtain optimal health. And also, if you have issues with your financial health, work with a financial advisor to get that things in shape. But start working in that direction. That's the key take home from this video. So with that, peace, wellness, and health to everyone out there. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and subscribe. And if you like the video, give me a thumbs up. Please go ahead and put the bell icon on so that you get notification when I upload new videos. Share it with your friends and family. But work on your health and wellness. That's the message. Good luck.